Every little thing that I said, I play it all back in my head. And every little thing that went wrong, I'd give it all to go back again. Every little thing that I said, I play it all back in my head. And every little thing that went wrong, I'd give it all to go back again. Hey! All day, all night, I'll be waiting for all the time. Through the pouring rain or the sunshine, I'll be waiting for all the time. Ooh, na 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 na. When I'm with you, all day, all night, I'll be waiting for all the time. Things that got the best of me, none worse than when you said it's all the time. My heart's forever broken, and that's why I'll be waiting for all the time. If I need
Holy shit. We're back. I'm back. Alex Cuesta here, Alex Cuesta Show. January 4th, 2025. We're here. It has been damn near 2 weeks since I have been back, since I recorded anything. I appreciate anybody that is back here. Got Nate G coming back in with the Happy New Year's, fellas. Happy New Year's to you, Nate. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate during this time. We appreciate anyone and everyone that is here watching, and hope everyone had a safe, happy time, spent it with family, spent it with friends. I know I was pretty optimistic about trying to do something over the holiday, but it just snowballed between traveling, hosting things, hanging out with the kids during the holidays and things like that, that I just, never got around to jumping back on and doing anything. It just never was something that was going to work out. So took 12 days off, but I'm here. I'm back. Obviously there is, no David here, but he will be back occasionally. Like we said, he's kind of poking his head in with his new job. Moscow Vincent, Happy New Year to you as well. I appreciate you watching. We are here. We're going to have some fun. I have a absolute shit ton to catch up on, and I plan on catching up on as much of it as I can. So I'm going to start off with a little preamble. Wherever you are watching, we appreciate it all. If you're watching on X, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Kick, we are now live on Rumble, apparently. I have to check that out to make sure that we are, but we are apparently live on Rumble. Nate G, I'm asking if I'm feeling better. Yes, I am feeling much better. I still have a slight cough, every once in a while. I still got the cough drops hanging out. My ribs are getting better. They hurt, but I started working out through that. My brother-in-law is fucking awesome and got my wife and I a weight set. We bought a bench. And, one of the things we're doing is trying to work out a little bit, trying to get in shape for the new year. So, it's better than buying a gym membership, because those you just kind of forget about. But we have it in the house, and our kids are old enough to just kind of hang out while we do things downstairs. We have a whole playroom for them. So they just kind of tear that up while we work out. But yes, Nate, I am feeling much better. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. But yes, we're apparently on Rumble. I'd be pumped if we actually are, because definitely want to be on Rumble, because that is a spot that, free speech stuff, all that good, yada, yada. Yeah, all that. We definitely want to promote that. We want to encourage that. So hopefully I'm over there. I will check at some point in the show if we're there. But overall, again, thank you everyone for watching. We always appreciate that. And if you're listening to this on podcast form, we appreciate you as well, whether it is coming from, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever you are. We appreciate you. And for everyone out there, please do your due diligence, repost, follow, share, all this type of fun stuff that you could do. Rate us 5 stars. That always helps. So I want to jump in, do my little quick preamble as I always do. Epstein client list, always a big thing for me. I want to make sure that we are keeping our eye out for it, and that we are still talking about getting it out there. Do not let it get memory hold. There is a lot of shit going on over the new year. We're going to touch on some of the stories that have happened as of late. And I want to make sure that that's something that we do not forget. So the Epstein client list is something that we need to keep our eyes on, and we need to keep demanding. I'm a little more optimistic. Like I've said, give it some time, see what Trump does, because it seems like Kash Patel's a guy that wants to get that out there. But if not, if it takes too long, cannot wait, have to get on them. we need to continue to remember our brothers and sisters over in North Carolina suffering from Helene and Milton that are in the freezing cold now. They just went through their holiday, and they were probably as happy as could be if they had family together. And that is the biggest thing that um, you could do if you're there and trying to cope with it. But for what we could do, those of us that did not suffer from that, we can make sure that we're doing the right thing. So sending money's fine, but if you could send supplies, that's even better, even if it's just as much as buying hat and gloves and sending them down. A kid's jacket, something like that where they can help stay warm because they lost everything. So send it over to them. Rosalie Mercury coming in with a comment, losers, with a bunch of laughing, smiling faces. Thank you, Rosalie. We appreciate that. Thank you for hanging out with us, losers. Hope you enjoy the fun. But definitely do what you can to help them. Support Moms for Liberty as always. I'm not paid at all to shout them out. I've just interviewed both Tiffany Justice and Tina Deskovich, and they're freaking fantastic. And I just believe that we need to do what we can to help support them and to keep that organization going. If you have a local chapter, help them out as well. They're freaking great. Another thing I do not want to let memory hole is what went on during Helene and Milton, North Carolina, where it was reported that FEMA workers were walking on by if you were a Trump supporter. And again, another thing that with all the shit that's going on with the drones, with some of the attacks that have happened lately, with all these things, we haven't heard a thing in the news about that FEMA stuff. And I'm not going to let that go. So we need to make sure we keep on demanding that we get to the bottom of that. And lastly, the other thing, don't let up just because we've had some victories in November. We're seeing that the battle is not done. There's shit going on all the time in politics, and we need to make sure that we're on top of it. So do not let up, get active, do what you can. All right, let's get into some of the fun stuff. Now, I have 12 days to kind of go back, and some of these stories might be old, but I certainly want to talk about them because there is so much that has happened, and I'm not going to be able to even get to touch all the stuff that I want to touch. But overall, we're going to need to make sure that we get this shit together and make sure that we um are able to talk about it. All right. So let's get in. Let's see if I even remember what to do. I'm going to be so fucking rusty here. But right away, I want to start off the top with this post from Inside Paper, which I wasn't shocked about necessarily, but was pretty annoyed about it. Inside Paper, President Biden commutes sentences of 37 to 40 federal death row inmates in a statement. Inside Paper follows with the next post here. Those commuted by Biden include 9 people convicted of murdering fellow prisoners, 4 for murders committing during bank robberies, and 1 who killed a prison guard. So Biden, in his awesomeness, right, being the great guy that he has commuted the sentences of some fucking awful people. And this is what we're dealing with. Biden commuted the sentences of some terrible people that don't deserve it. Okay. So that's just the bottom line there, that they do not deserve what they are getting. They're not good people. And I don't understand. He didn't let them free. So I think that's a misconception that a lot of people had. He commuted their sentences. So they're still going to serve life in prison. They're just not going to be killed. So they're now going to be a drain on the system. So let's go to an article by the New York Post about this. And again, long time ago, 23rd. Biden commutes death sentences of child killers and mass murderers 2 days before Christmas. Now, sometimes New York Post does a really good job. They're better than most of the mass media groups, but that's a real fucking headline because it talks about the type of people that he commuted. Child killers and mass murderers. It's not like he commuted some good people and awesome people that deserved it because they were there wrongfully or there's some evidence that they need to get off. No, he commuted some of the worst people that were convicted of some really bad shit. So let's look at this. Biden on Monday commuted the sentences of 37 to 40 federal death row, a list that includes at least 5 child killers and several mass murderers, while leaving out 3 notorious fiends. Stunning act of clemency. Biden, 82, gave the reprieve to some of the nation's most violent murderers. 9 of them found too dangerous to live after butchering fellow inmates. As part of his effort at ensuring a fair and effective justice system, the White House said. So let's get this straight real quick. A fair and effective system to them is one that is allowing murderers to now just go live out their lives in jail. And these are including some people that have killed fellow death row inmates and just fellow inmates in prison in general. Now, here's the thing. I don't give a fuck about those individuals, in death row. Obviously, if you're serving time, you should be able to serve time without being killed, right? Like that is just something like you should not be murdered if you're, in jail. Even if you're a terrible person, maybe pedophiles, we could talk about that. But even if you're a terrible person, you don't belong being killed by your fellow inmate. Now, things happen, shit happens all the time in jail. So that is just a normal thing for them. But overall, I mean, those are some heinous things that these people were commuted that are doing. So let's continue with the article here. In a quote, make no mistake, I condemn these murderers, grieve for the victims of their despicable acts, and ache for all the families who have suffered unimaginable and irreparable loss, Biden said in a statement. But guided by my conscience and my experience as a public defender, which I don't know, was Biden ever a public defender? I thought he just got right into politics in his mid 20s. Chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, vice president, and now president, I am more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty at the federal level. In good conscience, I cannot stand back and let a new administration resume executions that I halted. Biden opposed the death penalty, lowered each of the 37 sentences to life in prison without parole, did not say why he specifically considered the original penalties unjust. So this is just an attempt by a leftist to push some more leftist ideology. This is an attempt at Joe Biden to go further left and to sit there and be like, hey, I'm doing the right thing, lefties. I'm against the death penalty too. And to throw a bone to them. That's all this is. There is nothing more to it, nothing less. So let's continue here. 3 men on the federal death row did not get a commutation were Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, which thank God, along with his brother, killed 3 people in 2013 in the Boston bombing. Robert Bowers, who killed 11 at a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018, and Dylan Roof, who killed 9 Black Charleston churchgoers in 2015. I mean, I'm happy he didn't let those 3 go, but motherfucker, all of them, none of them should have been released. Nate G with the comment, virtue signaling, wood chipper go, brrr. Agreed. And it's just bizarre. This was not unexpected because Biden sucks, but just a little bizarre. Among those getting some holiday cheer is Thomas Sanders, who in 2010 kidnapped and then shot 12-year-old Lexus Roberts 4 times and cut her throat in Louisiana, days after the girl watched as Sanders murder her mother on a road trip near the Grand Canyon. Now, New York Post just goes through some of the most horrible cases, and I'm going to read them. Christmas also came early for Anthony Battle, who murdered an Atlanta prison guard with a hammer in 1994 while serving a life sentence for raping and murdering his wife, a U.S. Marine, in 1987 at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Jorge Avila Torres, another clemency recipient, sexually assaulted and stabbed to death 2 girls, Laura Hobbs and Crystal Tobias, 8 and 9 years old, who had been riding their bicycles in their neighborhood in a suburb in North Chicago in 2005. 4 years later, he strangled a naval officer, Amanda Snell, 20, inside her barrack in Virginia. And we go on and on and on. And they do profile the people that got the clemency. And it's good work by the New York Post here. And it's exactly what they should be doing, because this is who Biden let go. And, he has to live like, again, there's a lot of people against the death penalty. I get it. But he now has to live with the fact that he's allowing these murderers, rapists, child killers to go off free. And he can go fuck himself. I can't wait till he's gone. I cannot wait until he's gone. I want to jump to this next story right here. Real quick. Boom. And first things first, I want to go off screen and cough real quick. Hold on one second. I'm so professional. I even had the wrong little avatar in there at my other show for Talking in Ovals. If you're interested in track and field, go catch up on Talking in Ovals. Awesome show. But this is one. This is one that makes me fucking sick to my stomach. All right, let's get into this one. Again, these are old stories, but these are stories I wanted to cover. So this is from One American News over here. Georgia gay couple who adopted 2 boys handed 100-year sentences after sexually abusing them and distributing child sex abuse material. Now, I'm sorry, Georgia. I'm sorry. Fuck these people. I don't know if Georgia has a death penalty or not. I really don't. But they need to figure out a way to fucking kill these guys. Because this is about as gross of a story as you're going to read. I'm hoping everyone watching the show has already read this and knows about it and can sit there and, knows what's going on and blah. This is fucking gross, but let's go on ahead. A homosexual couple in Georgia have been found guilty of horrifyingly sexually abusing their 2 adopted sons, passing them around to other gay male friends, and distributing child sex abuse material, resulting in 100-year prison sentences. And it's like, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't give a fuck about gay people. I have nothing against them. They could live their lives. They could do what they want. But it's sick motherfuckers like this that give all the friggin' homophobes so much ammo. So much ammo. And don't get me wrong. There's straight people that molest kids and shit like that. And we've seen this type of situation where foster families abuse kids and shit like that. But this extent of raping your foster kids and passing them around to other gay people to sexually abuse them, 100 years in jail wasn't long enough. Like, these people deserve nothing but death. Nothing but death. Like, the death penalty should be real, okay? Like, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are like, what if the innocent person dies? And I get that argument. I really do. But this is open and shut. This is Monday Night Football. Bring out the brick wall, load them into a cannon, and fucking fire them into a cannon, like George Carlin famously joked about, doing these type of executions on Monday Night Football. And why not for people like this? Honestly. Let's keep reading this. If I've had to read this, so do you. The couple was first arrested back in 2022. The 2 adopted boys both have special needs, though the specifics of their special needs are not released to the press, which they're kids. They not all their stuff should be released. According to Walton County DA's office, William and Zachary Zulak, 34 and 36, so they're my age. I hate these people, were each given a sentence of 100 years in prison without the chance of parole just last week. The quote, "These 2 defendants truly created a house of horrors and put their extremely dark desires above everything and everyone else," the DA, Randy McKinley, said. However, the depth of the defendant's depravity, which is as deep as it gets, it is not greater than the resolve of those that fought for justice and the strength of the victims in this case. The resolve I have seen from these 2 young victims over the last 2 years is truly inspiring. 2 fucking years, everybody. I think that's what gets me. They were arrested in 2022. I get it. You want to get the evidence, the way the system is. Everything needs to be airtight. But 2 years, these kids have been put through hell for for how long with this family, right? And then now to have to face them over and over for 2 years. Terrifying. And these kids now need to be on watch. And you know what the fucked up part is? They are going to enter into the psychiatric system. They're going to go back into foster care, which I've worked in foster care systems, not necessarily, but like the group home systems. It is not a great system. It's tough. The people that work there are doing their best, but it's a fucking difficult system. And now these kids are scarred. And when I tell you I worked with that population, everyone, I worked with that population. And there were so many people in that population, so many of these kids, and they're good kids, but so many of them have been sexually abused. They're a part of gang violence by force because that's where they live. They are, and they relive these traumas. They're with parents that are constantly doing drugs and high out of their minds. They've had to survive on their own for so long. And which is why one of the reasons why I don't think people understand why these kids are so, number one, they fucking hate adults, as they should, honestly. You have to earn their trust again. And it's so hard to earn. But on top of that, they've been so independent their whole lives. They've gotten by. Most of them put themselves to school because they don't want to be around their fucking family. But they've gotten by and they've been so independent. Now they're put into a system where they are forced to follow a ton of rules, which is good for kids, right? Kids need structure. But these kids have been through so much. And now to add what these kids have now been through, it's grotesque. Let's keep going here, though, because this is things that need to be talked about. Couple raised them in a wealthy Atlanta suburb under the pretense of a somewhat normal home life, frequently posting pictures online of the four of them wearing matching gay pride and pro LGBTQ shirts, prompting praise from their progressive social media friends. So that is one of the biggest fucking things too. I mean, gay couples raise kids all the time. But if they're propagandizing them, I fucking hate it, okay? Because just because you're gay does not mean that your child is going to end up gay that you fostered. And you can teach them to be accepting and to, understand that there's different walks of life for different people. But do not fucking sit there and basically propagandize them. They these are the same people that will complain that kids are going to church and the Bible's propagandizing. The Bible's teaching them morals, you fucking idiots. What is being pro LGBTQ doing? Like, okay, acceptance, great. What's the moral fiber here? It's gross. William was employed by the government and Zachary worked in banking. Jesus Christ. But their lives had a sinister, disturbing secret. The two boys were routinely forced into sexual situations and acts by the couple, who would record the child's sex abuse and rape in order to film videos and take photographs for gay pedophiles to purchase. Oh my gosh. Authorities noted that Zachary once sent a revolting Snapchat message that said, "I'm going to fuck my son tonight. Stand by." According to the evidence presented by the police, the men also boasted about assaulting their equally deranged about the assault to their equally deranged friends. Oftentimes, they would attach images of the boys being abused. In addition, evil messages. I mean, these are the worst of the worst, and their friends should fucking die too. Their friends should, all this in Power World, right? Don't take me off on YouTube, but no, this is the worst heinous shit. I can't finish this article. It's a long article. No, it's actually not that long. Let's finish it. Blah, blah, blah. I thought it was longer. To make things worse, the two men also allegedly pimped the boys out to at least two other men in the local pedophile sex ring. The authorities added, after a purported ring member was caught downloading child sex abuse material online, he admitted to police that the Zulaks were creating porn with young boys and residing in their home. The Zulaks entered guilty pleas to counts of sexual exploitation of children, aggravated sodomy, and aggravated child molestation. Childhood sexual abuse can alter, and it talks about what is going on. I mean, this is just the grossest thing that you could imagine. And I would rather have these individuals get the death sentence than most murderers. I'm not going to lie. Because I don't know if there's anything worse. I don't know if there's anything worse. There's really not much to say. I'm not going to lie. Like, there isn't much that I could really say here. Outside of these people are gross. They're disgusting. And yeah, they're just terrible people. That's really all there is to say about it. I'm moving on to this because this is fucking gross. And I am done with it. Now, this story kind of let's laugh a little bit here. There's a story from the BBC. There you are, BBC News. Denmark, and this is from the 24th, so right before Christmas. Denmark boosts Greenland's defense after Trump repeats desire for U.S. control. I don't even know if I want to read the article. I just want to kind of laugh. Because the fact that Trump, number one, Trump keeps on talking about wanting Greenland, which I think is fucking hilarious. That he's just like, hey, Greenland, get over here. I am taking you. But that is, first of all, that's hilarious. But second of all, what exactly is Denmark going to do militarily? Like, let's be honest. What exactly are they going to do militarily that is, going to help them? Anyway, if United States wanted to come over and take Greenland, Denmark isn't going to fucking do anything. They're not going to help. the fuck's Denmark going to do? Like, what are they going to do? It's very laughable. Number one, but just I think it's just hilarious that Trump just keeps on like, yeah, we're gonna take that place. Like, we're gonna fucking take it. It's ours. We are going to take it. Like, I think that is incredibly funny to me. Um, and yet again, what exactly is Denmark going to do about any of this? Um, Overall, I don't think there's any seriousness to um Trump wanting to take Denmark. I keep on seeing it, but I really don't think there's any seriousness that he's going to do it. Piss off too many of the wrong people. Like, it's not worth pissing them off. But overall, I just thought that was a funny story that I wanted to catch up on. Apparently, I'm not streaming on Rumble. They needed me to verify some bullshit, which I did. And yeah, whatever. Rumble, I'm happy that it's finally on Restream. Rumble needs to get their shit together. They're doing a lot of things that um it's they need to get their shit together. That's honestly just it. So many people complain about like the Rumble infrastructure because it's not great. But I should be live there, but probably be live next time when I restart again. But yeah, unfortunately, if you want to watch on Rumble, you couldn't watch on Rumble. Fuckers. Anyway, so let's jump into this next piece right here. This one, back to grossness, right? Boom. This is from New York Post again. Princeton to offer classes on erotic dance, sex work, and queer spaces again on the 24th, right before Christmas. They were posting about this, and that's awesome. So I'm from Jersey, so reading about Princeton sucks, but I'm not surprised. They're an Ivy League, and they have to keep up with all the other fucked up Ivy Leagues, right? So Princeton University's Gender and Sexual Studies program will offer classes on topics like sex work, queer spaces, during the upcoming spring semester, sex work and queer spaces, incorporating topics like erotic dance, pornography, and more, according to the university's online course listing. Now, let me make this clear. Princeton University is a private university. They have no obligation to do what any of us want. Now, they do get public funding from the government. And I think that's something Trump needs to look into, that if they are trying to put any of this propaganda in, because let's keep in mind that under the Civil Rights Act of 1964, communists are not people. They are not protected. If you are an out and out avowed communist, you are not protected under the Civil Rights Act. And I think, I'm not going to go as far to say that this should go like to civil rights stuff, but I think Trump should go as far to say like, hey, this is propagandizing. This is not promoting positive lifestyles, or this isn't good for the brains of kids, especially even in college, because they're fucking morons. And queer is a political stance. And I think we also need to understand that. Queer is not a gender. There is no queer. Queer is a political stance. It's made extremely clear in academic papers written about queerness and queer philosophy and things like that. Critical queerness, I guess you can call it, queer studies. Where being queer is just being against the current status quo. It always changes. There is no full definition of queer. It is a fluid thing. It's as Marxist and as leftist as it gets, because it is a constant revolution. Whenever something becomes status quo, it can't be queer anymore. So there's a reason why back in the day, calling someone queer was synonymous with calling them gay for the longest time. Me growing up, queer and gay were very similar, if not exactly the same thing. But since the ideologues got a hold of it with the critical studies, queer is now a political stance. So anytime anyone talks about queerness, it is a political thing. It means going against the status quo, whatever that status quo is. It used to be called counterculture. Now it's taken into the whole entire sexualized part of it. So this is a political ideology. And maybe there needs to be something done about queerness specifically. Because again, we're not going to go after sexual orientation with being straight or gay, whatever the fuck you want to be. If you're over 18 and you want to go trans, knock your fucking socks off, right? Bisexual, whatever, all the dumb gender shit, which isn't real. None of it's real. There's no spectrum. That's not a thing. Um, but you want to be 18, you want to go play Fairyland, go do it. But queerness is a political stance. It should not be, it's not protected. It shouldn't be protected in terms of pushing it. So again, remember that communists aren't people and queerness is politics. So let's keep going here with the dumb shit Princeton's doing. The Ivy League institution will offer 5 total courses that contain the word queer in their course descriptions, according to Campus Reform report published Tuesday, including Love Anthropological Explorations, Queer Spaces in the World, Power, Profit, and Pleasure, Sex Workers and Sex Work, Disability and the Politics of Life, and The Poetics of Memory, Fragility, and Liberation. So again, liberation's in there. That's a very Marxist word, liberating. Again, revolutionary stuff. The university's course dedication to sex work appears to focus on the stigmatization and controversy surrounding the topic, as well as the power dynamics and societal expectations. Again, right there, power dynamics and societal expectations. Power dynamics, whenever you hear that, that is a buzzword, and you should absolutely perk your ears up whenever you hear something like power dynamics, because that is it's Marxist in a lot of ways. It's collectivist. It's leftist. It is us versus them. It is, it's the dialectic. So you need to make sure that when you hear things like that, whether it's in this setting, or in your everyday life, power dynamics is not a normal thing that people think about. Normal people that aren't politicized, that aren't a part of the cause, do not think in terms of power dynamics. They don't. They just don't at all. They think that's not an everyday thing. No one's sitting there and keeping up with the us versus them mentality. Those that do usually have a mental disorder because they're feeling like everyone's out to get them. So there is that. Let's keep on rolling here. Boop, if I can. University's course dedicated to sex work appears to focus on the stigmatization and controversy surrounding the topic, as well as power. Oh yeah, I already talked about. Blah. Reading again. Quote, why does sex work raise some of the most fascinating, controversial, and often taboo questions of our time? The course explores the intricate lives and intimate narratives of sex workers from the perspective of sex workers themselves, as they engage in myriad varieties of global sex work, pornography, prostitution, erotic dance, escorting, street work, camming, commercial fetishism, and sex tourism. The course description reads in part. So they're going to be bringing in whores to talk to these people. Hey, come on over here. Talk to this whore. Let this whore tell you about her lifestyle and how cool it is. Nietzsche coming in with, in my day, queers were smeared. Yeah, smear the queer. Absolutely. That's exactly what it used to be. The program's Queer Spaces course similarly analyzes institutional historical power dynamics through the lenses of gender-related theories. The course description poses questions like, how do sources determine the histories we can tell about architecture, urban space, and agents that enliven it? Again, they all want to be these things called change agents. They talk about these things, be a change agent. And that is what they are trying to get these kids to do, to be activists. They want them to fall into the activism that they do. So there they are. More quote here. How do we reconcile seeming absences and actual acts that of erasure that stare back at us from the archive? How can feminist, gender, queer, and trans theory, again, there they go, theory. They're talking about a bunch of critical theories there. Whenever you see theory is the overarching thing that holds them all together. Critical theories is what they're talking about. Gender theory, feminist theory, queer theory, trans theory. They are all critical theories. None of those things should really have a whole lot to do with each other, but they group them in together because they want to make sure that the activists know all the buzzwords. Trans theory help us chart new avenues for writing critical. There it is. All the buzzwords are here. Architectural histories, writing critical architectural histories that are attentive to discourses of difference, but also narratives of equity. And again, equity is just Marxism. It is straight up Marxism. It is not getting what you deserve equally off the equal opportunity of outcomes. It is the guaranteed outcome. It is guaranteed outcomes that are taken for everybody. It's the buzzwords are there. And also, continues to read, which methods beyond conventional modes of architectural inquiry can we employ to uncover histories of groups and institutions that have actively resisted dominant regimes of power and their corresponding systems of knowledge? So again, they're teaching them to be revolutionaries. That's all that is. That is saying, hey, how do we find the people that have been revolutionaries in these spaces and highlight them and become them? Let's learn from them. Saul Alinsky type shit. Reading list of materials will be incorporated into coursework. Were included on the webpage containing the information. Other universities across the US have similarly offered related queer studies. They talk about the stuff here that other schools have done, but overall, these are the type of things that people need to think about, because I know school choice is massive, right? It is a big thing. And Corey DeAngelo's working his ass off for it. I see Kathy Barnett talking about it on Twitter. There's a lot of good people, really good people, that are championing school choice. And awesome. Champion away. Because school choice isn't a bad thing. But people need to realize school choice isn't everything. And you still need to be extremely careful and extremely active when you are choosing the school for your child. Because overall, the bottom line is that a lot of these elite schools that kids are being sent to are still doing the DEI bullshit, are doing similar things to what Princeton's doing. Princeton's an elite school, right? And when you send your kids to these elite private institutions or other schools that you want to send them to, where is their pipeline usually? You're sending these kids to schools to have a better education, but these professors and teachers over at these big time private schools came from these universities. They came from these Ivy Leagues, from these UCs, basically the California Ivies, your Notre Dames, your Dukes, your Vanderbilts, your all these schools that have the same type of shit. Okay. And they're bringing it in there. So you need to be really diligent, even with school choice. Because again, the pipeline from these private schools is to one of these schools that are doing the indoctrination. So while school choice is a good thing, you still need to be incredibly careful, because the private schools aren't much better. They're not much better at any of this stuff. So make sure you still stay diligent while you're doing it. All right. So we are going to jump into this next piece. Again, a lot of old news. This one's from the 26th, but I've been gone for a while, people. So deal with me. You got to fucking bear with me. I found this to be insane. Azerbaijan Airlines flight was down by Russia air defense system, killing 38. There's the report. Again, New York Post. I've been getting a ton. There's a video over there. It crash lands and bursts into flames in Kazakhstan after being shot down. I mean, that's fucking crazy. So let's read a little bit here about it. Passenger jet that crashed into Kazakhstan on Christmas Day killed 38 people, was likely shot down by Russian anti-aircraft missile, according to reports. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was confirmed that it was Russia. Azerbaijan Airlines flight, J2A243, originally meant to fly about 300 miles from Azerbaijan's capital Baku to Grozny in Russia. The region in North Caucasus has been under frequent attack from Ukrainian drones, including one that was shot down about 50 miles from Grozny just 3 hours before Azerbaijan Airlines crash, according to the Wall Street Journal. Four sources told Reuters that Russian air defense system appears to have hit the airliner with anti-aircraft missile. That conclusion was echoed by U.S. security sources, according to reports from CNN and ABC News. Another source familiar with investigation told Reuters that preliminary findings determined that the plane was hit by a Russian Panzer S mobile surface-to-air missile system, and that its communications were then jammed by Russian electronic warfare systems. Photos of the jet fuselage, pockmarked with holes, and other images from the crash site indicate that the plane was hit with shrapnel from a missile. Osprey Flight Solutions, an aviation security company, said, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is a crazy thing. It seems from, you want to give the best case scenario, Russia's in the middle of a war, and someone with a trigger happy finger happened to shoot this plane down. I mean, but yeah, fucking crazy. Like, this is dangerous stuff, and this is why war sucks. Um, I'm not going to get into the rest, but this is why war sucks. This is why Donald Trump is so big on wanting to end this war. This war, the Israeli war with the Palestinians over in Gaza. This is one of the main reasons why I believe he wants to end it, because the casualties are not necessary. There are people on that flight, innocent people that were flying over to another part of Russia, because Russia's at war. They had just shot down a Ukrainian drone, so they were trigger happy. And unfortunately, 38 people paid the price, and this is the day after fucking Christmas. And there's got to be people in Azerbaijan that celebrate Christmas. There's definitely Christians all around the world, and I mean, how many of those people just ended up having a great holiday, or maybe traveling because Christmas happened on Wednesday, and um, maybe we're traveling on the 26th to go visit some family in Grozny and celebrate with them for the weekend because they didn't get to see them. And now those 38 people are never going to get to do anything like that, regardless of what they do. Terrible tragedy, and something that this is why war's bad, right? War sucks. It's necessary sometimes to defend yourself. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fully anti-war. I believe, there's some people that take it overboard right now. But, you got to do what you got to do to defend yourself. But it's ugly. Absolutely fucking ugly. But all right, let's jump into this new tab right here. This is something quick, not really necessary to be like a big deal. Just want to mention this because Nate, we talked about this a few times. Tim Pool made an announcement on the first big announcement he talked about January 1st. I'm going to make an announcement, and it was about Cask Brew Coffee is opening up franchisee attempts. If you like Tim and you want to go help him build a coffee fucking empire around the country, find out if you can get a franchise. But there were rumors circulating that Tim Pool was going to sell Timcast to the Daily Wire. And people were pissed. There were a lot of people not happy. There's a lot of people that don't like the Daily Wire. A lot of people that follow Tim Pool that don't like the Daily Wire. So Tim did a follow-up to this and said, oh yeah, as an aside, he did a follow-up to his Casper announcement. Daily Wire did not buy Timcast. We are not selling Timcast. I personally own 100% with no outside investment. I have no intention of selling. We are currently hiring some new managers and are excited for the new year. Shout out to DW. They are good people. I'm a huge fan and I wish them the best. So he put that to rest. And I just think again, it's not overly important news that Timcast didn't sell. It's not earth shattering. I just want to mention it because it's something that Nate, me and you have been bouncing off of and talking. And I think I mentioned it with David one time when he was on there, that some of the turmoil going on at Timcast. I didn't know he let go of Cassandra McDonald. I saw that online randomly. I don't know why. Didn't know he let go of Cassandra. I knew he let go of Hannah Claire Brimlow. But I mean, I'll be honest with everyone right now. I have been completely out of politics the last 12 days. Outside of just seeing some things on X and what's going on there, obviously with the speakership and things like that. I pay attention on X. I have my list and stuff that I'll look at. So I do have an understanding of what's going on. But in terms of listening to the normal shows that I listen to, I haven't one bit. If I'm being quite honest, I've been nerding out. There's a Dragon Ball podcast that I like, and I've been catching up on the Dragon Ball podcast. And I've been watching Dragon Ball Daima and catching up on Rising of the Shield Hero and hanging out with my kids and being disconnected from politics in terms of listening to it all the time. So I've been out of the loop in terms of what's going on. If there's any drama, if there's any conversations, the guests that anyone's had on, whether it's Glenn, Pac Ray, it's been nice. It's been nice to be disconnected, but I'm kind of slowly going to come back to it. I still have a bunch more episodes I want to listen to at the Dragon Ball show because I like the people that are there. And God, it's like a Wayback Machine listening to some of these episodes. But I mean, I'm going to come back. I'm going to start listening again. I do enjoy listening to the politics, but that's sometimes the beauty of something like an X or things like that, because you don't have to be listening to understand what's going on. There's a ton of personalities, a lot of people I interact with. I was incredibly active today and I had fun on X talking to people. But overall, and I'm pumped actually. Prime Style, Alex Stein followed us, which I was cool. I was really pumped. I reposted something. Dave Landau, him and Dave Landau are going to be doing a show over in Dallas together. And I like Dave. Dave is a former guest. It was fucking awesome. I'm pumped. I made Dave Landau laugh at one point, and that's to me like an accomplishment of my life, right? Dave Landau is incredibly funny. Has a great show, Normal World on Blaze. Absolutely go watch Normal World. But I saw that he was going to be with Alex, so I just like boom. I reposted and was like, hey, it's going to be really one of the funniest comedy shows you'll ever see. And then Primetime Alex Stein reposted it, followed us. So fuck yeah. Thank you for following. I like Alex Stein. I think Alex Stein's hilarious. I know, some of these like haughty-taughty conservatives sometimes that are like, oh, he does like when he does like some of the gay shit and stuff like that. Like, but he's funny. He's a comedian. He pushed the envelope, and that's what he's supposed to do. Nate T coming in saying, yeah, I'm about there too, with terms of like limiting. I get it, Nate. And Nate T saying, sticking with Scott Horton, Tom Woods, Nor, and the Questas. That's, we appreciate, Nate, that we're on that list. That's a good list to be on. Scott Horton, Tom Woods, obviously Rob's fucking fantastic. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to in terms of politics, but I'm still in the know with X and stuff like that. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that because we talked about the Tim Pool stuff a little bit, and just wanted to make sure that I addressed that, touched on it real quick. I'll probably go back to listening to Tim a little bit because honestly, I've said this before and I will say it again. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Tim Pool sucks." Blah, blah, blah. Listen, if you listen to Tim Pool for Tim Pool as a conservative, then you're doing it wrong. Okay. I love Phil Labonte. Phil Labonte's fantastic. You have people when Seamus Coughlin jumps on. Seamus is really good. You have the guests that he gets, a lot of right-leaning conservative guests. You have Luke Rudkowski. Luke's great, even though his libertarianism sometimes and his anarcha is a little crazy, but the different perspectives. And Ian, I love Ian Crossland. I disagree with Ian Crossland on almost fucking anything, but Ian just seems like one of the nicest dudes around. So if you're not listening to Tim Pool and Timcast because of Tim Pool, then you're doing it wrong. And even Tim's fine. Tim, I don't agree with him on a lot of things. I think, he's kind of moved around and it is what it is. But if you're listening to Timcast IRL for Tim Pool, then you're doing it wrong. That's about it. That's the only thing I can say. But I'll go back to listening at some point. I'll get all my different shows in order again because I do enjoy the politics side. That's why I'm talking a ton of fucking politics right now. But so let's continue with some of the news and not so fun stuff. Because this is from the new year, January 1st, we had our first terrorist attack of the year. Woo! Yeah! Hooray! It's ridiculous that this is the way we had to start off the year, right? And that's kind of where the title comes from. Starting off with a bang, and I know everyone knows what that's from as well. Nate Q coming in. Phil is good, and Luke and Clint Russell. Yes, I do like Clint Russell. Liberty Lockdown's awesome. And, so also I know those two do a show together and everything. So let's go with this article right here. New Orleans attack updates. Suspect inspired by ISIS was a military veteran. Okay. So here we are. An Army veteran who was hell-bent on killing as many people as possible drove a rented pickup truck around the parked police car, serving as a barricade, and plowed through a crowd of New Year's revelers on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, leaving at least 15 dead and injured dozens of others early Wednesday. Federal officer said, I don't know how updated this is. I might be behind, but this is the article that I had and I pulled up. So the crazy part and the fucked up part about this is I don't have the stupid ass FBI spokesperson talking, but I know for a fact that when this first happened, obvious terrorism, right? Truck driving through a fucking crowd of people and a guy dead with an ISIS flag next to him. It was clear as day that it was terrorism. The FBI spokesperson was saying, hey, we're not going to treat this. We don't think that this is an act of terrorism. It's like, motherfucker. People don't like FBI deserves to be hated in a lot of ways. Number one, they're a federal police force. We don't need a fucking federal police force. I'm a firm believer of that. They've been corrupt for a real long time. They seem to be there to gather dirt on people that could potentially harm them, and that's really all they do. And then sometimes they do some federal police work, right? With terrorism, and they do their job. No. because they know about all these people and they don't do shit. How many times with all of these things, they were on our radar? The FBI had knowledge of them. It seems like every single one. Let's keep going with the article here. After mowing down numerous people over a 3-block stretch on the famed thoroughfare while firing shots into the crowd, the suspect, identified by sources as Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42, allegedly got out of the truck wielding an assault rifle and opened fire on police officers. Law enforcement officials briefed on the incident told ABC News. Officer returned fire, killing Jabbar, so death by cop. A U.S.-born citizen from Texas, sources said. At least 2 police officers were injured, one by gunfire, another when the officer was pinned by the truck, authorities said. So this guy planned this. Just from hearing that, the fact that they didn't call it terrorism right away just goes to show they're playing semantics. It's exactly what it was. If it quacks like a duck, it is a duck. That's really what it is. That's a look at the guy. Althea Duncan, assistant special agent in charge of FBI New Orleans field offices, said investigators do not believe Jabbar acted alone. So this was an initial article because now the narrative has come to they have, both now there's 2 terrorist attacks. We'll talk about the second one, that they both acted alone. There was no connection. Now we found out that both of them were at the same boot camp, right? I'm pretty sure that's a thing. They both rented vehicles. And they both happen to take these rented vehicles and do these acts. Now, there's more coming out about the second one. We will talk about that. But, it's at first, if you were looking at these things, it has to be connected. It seems like these 2 things are so close to each other. The way the cars were used, one was exploded, the other one was run into a crowd. Both were meant to cause, damage. It seems like they have to be connected. But the FBI is like, no. Both of them acted alone. This guy just went fucking crazy. 2 military guys had PTSD and decided to kill people, even though one was inspired by ISIS. Is what they want us to believe. One was inspired by ISIS, so maybe but the other one, it's so ridiculous. Let's continue. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible, Duncan said during a news conference Wednesday afternoon. We're aggressively running down every lead, including those blah, blah, blah. Now, again, they've since come out and said that he acted alone. So I am going to kind of skip a whole bunch of this stuff because, again, are we ever going to actually know everything about this guy besides what the FBI decides they want us to know? Now, this one, we're not going to know much because it was ISIS. And it's an ISIS terrorist. Obviously, I remember seeing something where the brother said that they were raised Christian. He converted to Islam and its radicalization. That he did it at a young age, and he's been radicalized ever since. Wouldn't be surprised. And we're not going to find out much about that one. I'm telling you right now, everyone. You can dig. The sleuths will end up finding a bunch of shit. There'll be investigations. There'll be documentaries done on it. The government's official narrative is going to be he was inspired by ISIS. He acted alone. Shut the fuck up. Stop asking questions. Now, this next one, we are getting a slew of information about this next one. Because you want to know why? Because it was a white guy. And this one's much more plausible that, that this person, really did it. They were crazy. They had PTSD and we should believe it. So this is from Colin Rugg. Now, I don't have a news story, but the news story is that a person rented a Cybertruck, brought it in front of Trump Tower, was filled with fucking explosives and detonated it. They said he shot himself in the head before he detonated. I don't know, but there was a massive explosion over at Trump Tower over in Vegas. Colin Rugg has the post over here on X saying CNN releases new camera angle of Trump Hotel truck explosion. Investigators say Matt Livelsberger was found with 2 firearms, a handgun, and a rifle. The weapons were purchased legally on Monday from ABC News. Livelsberger allegedly shot himself in the head. A .50 caliber Desert Eagle was found at his feet. Investigators say he took his life sometime in the 17 seconds between when he arrived at the hotel and when the truck exploded. ABC News also reports that Livelsberger has been receiving mental health assistance over the last year. So I'm going to watch we're going to play the first one real quick. I'm not going to full screen it because we don't need to, but real quickly.
Footage later shows the moment explosives were
So
detonated, causing the truck to
that's all I want to see. I don't want to show. There's slow-mo ones. It's not necessary. Nate saying it's still undefeated. Body burned beyond recognition. Passports unharmed. Passports unharmed. Manifesto fucking emailed apparently to Sean Ryan an hour before this happened. It's like this one, we know everything about him. We're figuring out everything about him real quick. We have passports. We have IDs. There was a partially charred military ID. Like they have found out everything. It looks like this guy laid out everything, was like, knew exactly where the explosions were going to hit, where they weren't going to hit. And I mean, this one is just so perfect. And it's like, let's talk about symbolism here. Cybertruck Elon Musk, Trump Tower in Vegas. I mean, hi guys. What the fuck are we doing here? And now we're finding out all this information. I found this one to be hilarious. I'm going to share this real quick. MJ Truth Ultra has, okay, officially don't believe jack shit anymore. The Cybertruck bomber, Matthew Livelsberger, was a reality TV star. Drop a period if you're sick of this shit. And the fun thing over here is, but let's full screen this because this is craziness.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago on the History Channel. They not only won, it wasn't even close.
So that's all I want to watch. It like this is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Was he a registered Republican? I don't. Apparently, he was a big Trump supporter. Loved Elon. That was apparently they're trying to paint this guy as this big time Trump guy that just had PTSD. So he happened to pull around Elon Musk's prized, I guess, possession, a Cybertruck, in front of Trump Tower of all places, shoot himself, and then set a detonation to happen 17 seconds within that time after. They're trying to paint this. I didn't read the manifesto that I think it's out there that was sent to Sean Ryan. I personally don't fucking care. I am past the point of caring when they start to release a bunch of this stuff. I found the funny thing with Tim Kelly because also, that him being there in this, he's a reality TV star, and that's not too far fetched, right? It's not too far fetched that he could have done something. It's America, the crazy thing, and he was in the military, so okay. But I mean, he was receiving mental help and stuff like that. Like, there's some things that they find so quickly, right? The boom, 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 and it's like, is it good work or is it just too perfect? And I'm going to give a hint to our government. I mean, just don't make it so perfect. Wait a few days, I guess. Don't find everything so quickly. I mean, when you wrap up a case in a week, like something like this with a big charred body, a huge explosion, it was a big fucking explosion. There were explosives in there, and now you can identify everything. So it's so crazy. So Nate saying, I'm so checked out on this dude after the Vegas shooting, doubt it all. And I think one thing, Nate, that is starting to happen is even the common person is starting to doubt all of this shit. I don't think they're accepting it anymore because I'll just do from personal experience. My wife, I love my wife. She's not a very political person. We debate all the time. She thinks I'm too right on some things, and she's not a leftist. She's not a feminist, but she's not as politically. She doesn't like the politics. It depresses her, pisses her off, and I don't blame her. Even she, with the Luigi Mangione stuff, the person that just rode through in New Orleans, this going on over at Trump, the drones. Even she's just like, this is all too fucking fishy. And she's at the point where she's just like, government done it all. It's all the government. And it's like, to get her to that point, maybe she's just been listening to me too much. But like, to get her to that point, I think she represents more of the common person than especially I do, because I like politics. I'm involved in, I get involved in this stuff. But to have her getting to a point where she's just like, I mean, it seems all too perfect, like with the Luigi Mangione stuff. And now we're not finding out shit about Shajar Din, whatever the fuck his name is. I haven't heard anything really about the NOLA guy. It's been all about the Vegas, explosion, right? That's all it's been about. And we're finding out so much information about him, the manifesto and this, and it's all so perfect that it's just like, even like I said, my wife is like, this all seems fishy. This all seems fishy. But then she also jokes around and is like, stop talking about the drones are going to appear above our house. So it's actually pretty fucking funny. But Nate, you going on, laugh out loud. My wife is the same. And I think a lot of us experience that, right? Like the not super political wife marries the ultra conservative guy who talks about politics, enjoys it, and gets annoyed by us, still wants to go to us during the elections to find out all about the candidates, right? But, it comes a point where they start to see it too. And when they start to see it is when there's, the government has a problem. And again, this is why Donald Trump won, because there were people that before, this, that were starting to see this shit, that were questioning everything already. And they weren't necessarily hyper conservative or hyper political people. They're just looking at things going, they're trying to tell me 2 + 2 = 73, and I'm supposed to accept it when I know 2 + 2 = 4. Not even 2 + 2 = 5. Not even, something similar. 2 + 2 = like 835, and you're just supposed to believe it. It's like, fuck you. I don't believe anything. So we are getting to the point where they are questioning everything, and I'm very happy about it. But all right, let me jump to this next one, because I am going to probably rant a little here, because this type of shit pisses me off. So we just had a vote for the speakership, and Nate with an absolutely good good observation. COVID peeled back the curtains. Yes, COVID did. COVID was one of the biggest backfires that the government ever tried to pull over people, because even though they found out that most people were controllable with lockdowns and masks and shit like that, they also opened up a massive swath of people that are like, no, never again. And we'll see. They're going to try again, but we'll see what happens. And I think it also opened up a lot of people's eyes that, conservatives typically support your police, your emergency workers, and things like that. But I think a lot of more people have become skeptical and realize that the police aren't necessarily on our side with everything. And that I'm not someone who's going to thin blue line it. Fuck that. Do I support good police? Hell yeah. My friends who are cops and things like that? Abso-fucking-lutely. But to see what police did during COVID to just average people, to pastors, to it's like they burned the bridge too. And you realize that when things like that go on, people would rather keep their jobs and do the right thing. All right. And speaking of keeping their job, this fucking guy, House Republicans reported, Speaker Mike Johnson, again, he won after the first ballot. There were 3 holdouts initially. Norman, some other motherfucker, Keene, I think, and Massey. 2 of them after the first vote apparently was failing. Then they went back to talk, and those 2 changed their vote around. I mean, I debated with people on X about this. I usually don't debate, but I put my 2 cents out there with a lot of this, because this is the type of shit that bothers me. And one of the reasons it bothers me is people were just going along with him, especially your rank and file, just regular people, where we absolutely need to get Mike Johnson. And even a lot of your influential people on X and on radio were like, Trump endorsed it, so we need to do it. And it's like, no. Trump could be wrong, guys. Like, let's have a real conversation here, really quick. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times. I believe was a good president the first time, is going to be a good president this time. He's not always right, guys. He's been known to miss on people. This is a miss. Supporting Mike Johnson, endorsing him, is an absolute miss. Because bottom line, I mean, you now have Speaker Mike Johnson, that is in that chamber. You have John Thune over as a Senate. You have a shaky Supreme Court with 2 really good justices. You have 2 really good justices. You have 2 okay justices, and you have 3 meh justices along with the leftists, right? So it's not like you have this like powerful force of justices right over there. So this was not a good endorsement. Not a good endorsement. I have a comment here from Kiz McCawk. Great name. You want to hear something? Me and my brother wrote, free made, only has like 20 views, laugh out loud. If that, not signed. or popular, laugh a lot. I'm 35, female, and very drunk. LOL. Search Dawn is gone. Heretic. I mean, I'll go search it. Can we find it on Google? Where are we finding Dawn is gone? Heretic. I mean, I don't know what the fuck it is. You and your brother wrote it. That's pretty cool. What type of story is it? I like reading stories and things like that. So what type of story is that? Hopefully it's not fucking porn or something weird. Please don't do that. And Nate G gave me the 100. Mike Johnson sucks and Sam Hyde is right about HB1. And yeah, here's the thing. And like Trump was right about HB1 before until we came back and was like, we're going to make it great. Like, no, fuck that. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. But on top of that, my rant is, Thomas Massie was the only one that held true. And I highlighted Chip Roy a few weeks ago, ranting and raving about the fucking pre-Christmas thing, and he was right there. But then it was like, be a team player. Fuck that. Mike Johnson has stabbed everyone in the back ever since he got in there. He was a Christian conservative, and he was going to be a good speaker and not McCarthy. And it's like, no, he sucks, okay? He sucks. And every single person that grandstands all the fucking time in the House, and I'm talking about your Marjorie Taylor Greens, your Lauren Boeberts, your Andy Biggs, your Chip Roys, who the fuck else? Even Byron Donald, who I think would have been a great choice for speaker. All these people that were like, well, he's the one that's going to get the votes, so we just need to do it because, God, it'll look bad. And it's like, no, motherfuckers, fight. Fight. Stop allowing the uniparty to just push everyone away. And I get it. There are a ton of weak-minded and spineless representatives. But God, we did not elect the Freedom Caucus people to fucking just go along and get along. We did not elect a bunch of the populists to just go along and get along. This is the problem here. This is the problem. Is that Mike Johnson is as much of a uniparty show as you're going to find, that is controlled and bought and paid for by the lobbyists, and is going to be the same fucking thing that McCarthy did. He tried to ramp through a 1,500-page continuing resolution. If he was not called out and pressured by the public, and if Trump didn't get involved, they would have fucking rammed that through. He's no different. He put an omnibus there. He spends as much as anybody. He supports all the spending to Ukraine, all the spending to Israel, wants to send money to Taiwan, doesn't mind getting into every fucking war possible. And he's been bad on basically every conservative value. But yet I am supposed to sit here and listen to these representatives say, hey, just get along to get along. Because, he's the one that can get the votes. No, you fight this shit. That is what you were elected to do. You were elected to legislate, to put in conservative policy and law. That is why you were given the majority. And to fight when things are on the line. And we just failed miserably. Trump just failed his first fucking test before getting into office. John Thune was inevitable. There were too many people that were going to vote for him there. He did not have any chance of losing, okay? That's just, it is what it is. But when it comes to a speaker battle, you can fight there, okay? Getting McCarthy out was an absolute victory. You got out a bunch of promises and a bunch of lobbyist bullshit that he was pulling. Johnson's the same. And we are giving him time to create those same webs that McCarthy did. And the fear of weak-minded motherfuckers, and I'm talking about every single New York representative here that is around by me here. Every single one of you that does not have the balls to go against the leadership. Whether it's fucking Mike Lawler, whether it's Gambarino, whether it's LaLota, whether it's D'Esposito. I think some of you, even Marcus Molinaro, I think but few of you lost your fucking bids. And thank God you did. Thank God. And even I think they're gone. I think it's the new Congress started. That's why the speaker vote. But ones that are still there for New York, spineless ass Republicans that just go along with whatever the fuck they're told. Because the lobbyists are telling them to do so. They're going to get their committee seat if they play ball. And they're going to be able to put their pork into whatever the next omnibus bill is. Like, I'm so fed up with the bullshit. And to boot, Thomas Massie is getting grilled on X by a bunch of the fucking MAGA zealots, all because he had the balls to stand up. If you think Thomas Massie is the problem in Congress, then you're a fucking idiot and you're not on the right. Period. I don't always agree with Thomas Massie. I think some of the things that he does is stupid. But to sit there and have all these fucking MAGA chuds, and I'm sorry, I believe in the MAGA agenda. I feel like I'm falling out of the MAGA party because the bottom line is the MAGA party is starting to act so much like the left. so much like them. It is incredible. They demand your fealty. They demand that you trust and do everything that Trump says. And they demand that if you have the balls to comment anything or go against them at all, to say, hey, Trump is wrong here, all of a sudden you're on the left. All of a sudden you're not MAGA. All of a sudden you're not this. And it's like, fuck all of you. Because before being MAGA, I'm a conservative. And I get it. Some of these MAGA people were former leftists. I'm understandable. Donald Trump is a Bill Clinton Democrat, okay? Now, Bill Clinton Democrat, it gets you on the right now, but that's still his core. He's pretty good on some other things. He's come around to be conservative on some things, but at his core, that is what he is. So you look at this shit going on, and yes, while I still agree with the agenda that Trump wants to push, I fucking hate some of the people that are now in tow that influence, because they absolutely suck. They sit there and they give you litmus test and fealty test, and fuck all these people. Because when Trump is doing something wrong, I am going to call him out for it, okay? When Trump's surrogates, such as Elon Musk, is pulling some shit, I am not going to blindly support him because Trump said so. When he endorses Mike Johnson, who is a uniparty shill, I am not ever going to rubber stamp that. And you shouldn't either if you were a conservative pre-Trump, okay? And I'm not talking Romney, Bush, fuck those people. I'm talking true conservative, a Rush conservative, okay? A fucking Pat Buchanan conservative, one of those, like your paleos, your real fucking conservatives that have a populist streak and a libertarian streak as well in you. There is no way that you should have just jumped on board. And there are so many of these shills on X, and they fucking bother me because they sit there and they've played themselves as these big people on the right, these conservatives. But the moment Trump says to do something not conservative, they happily go along with it. And it's absolutely tiring to see. And I have no problem standing up and saying, hey, Trump's being a fucking idiot. And if we're being honest, Trump got this one wrong. Endorsing Mike Johnson was the absolute wrong move. And the reason why I did is because he can get the votes. Okay, enjoy not having your agenda passed now, Trump. Okay, we're going to have 2 years of bullshit. Barely anything's going to get done. Trump is going to be able to get things done via executive order again. And it can get undone very quickly if the next president isn't a Republican. You want the quickest way to have JD Vance not have the inroad? This is exactly it. Because you think Mike Johnson and fucking John Thune are going to do anything of what a semblance of what Trump wants? You think they're going to drain the swamp? They are the swamp. They're not going to battle the lobbyists. They're not going to battle Big Pharma. They're not going to battle any of them. The military-industrial complex. They're not doing any of that. That's where they get their fucking money and their power from. And we just gave them the leadership in 2 of the chambers. And then you have John Roberts, you have fucking, and you have Roberts and you have Kavanaugh, who are shaky at best. Amy Coney Barrett's becoming very shaky in terms of things in Supreme Court that we need wins on, right? You have Alito and you have Thomas, who are fantastic. And you have Gorsuch, who's meh. And then you have the 3 fucking leftists. So it's like, it's not like we are sitting here in this massive position of power. We've given away a ton of the power with the choices that we've had. And Trump did not help this time. And I will be damned if anyone ever sits there and has me swear fealty to a person or a fucking party. It's not happening. I swear fealty to the man above, and that is about it. All right, rant over. So Nate G coming in. Did you see Sam Hyde's video on to Elon? No, but I saw parts of it. We could talk quickly about the Elon stuff because Elon stuff is crazy. I'll just bring it up real quick. And Nate G coming back. Thomas Massie is way better than Trump. And a lot of things he is, yes. And there's things I disagree with Massie on vehemently. But I don't think he's way better than Trump. I'm not going to say he's way better because Trump has come around on a lot of things in terms of conservative policy. And he's much more conservative than he used to be in a lot of ways. So I think Trump is pretty good. He has his moments. I'm not going to agree with everyone all the time, period. Even some of my favorite people that I like in Congress and things like that. And again, trust 0 of them. 0, including Donald Trump. I don't trust any of them. They're politicians, people. The fact that we have been brainwashed to trust politicians is fucking mind-blowing. I grew up sitting there knowing that politicians were all full of shit, period. But now we're supposed to trust them. So I hate this whole entire streak of we trust them. I don't trust any of them. There's some of them I agree with. And there's some of them that, I'm like, okay, they're pretty good most of the time. I'm down with that. I'm like, like I said, Byron Donald. I like Byron Donald. I think he's been a really good conservative representative. I like Jim Jordan. There's some people that I like. I like Andy Biggs. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul in the Senate. Ted Cruz is okay. Mike Lee is a fucking rock star. I hope Mike Lee is on the Supreme Court one day. But I mean, but doesn't mean I trust any of them. These people work for us, guys. These people work for us. We don't work for them. We're not their subjects. They're ours in a lot of ways. They represent us. We put them there, including Donald Trump. Moscow Vincent with the 100%. Thank you. Nate G, Massey and Trump have been battling since 16. I'm a sassy with Massey guy. And here's the thing. Massey and Trump might battle on policies and things like that, and that's fine. But when it comes down to it, if Massey agrees with what Trump wants, he's going to do it, right? Like, the thing is, I saw someone bring up, because I said something about Massey, and he brought up the fact that Massey was like, I will fund the border wall, but then in another tweet was like, I can't support him using an EO to pull funds from somewhere else here. And I just told him they need to get reading comprehension, because Massey will support funds through the House being allocated, because that's what they do. They have the power of the purse. He supports voting on that and having those funds allocated via the House, which is the constitutional duty. He does not support an EO, an executive order, saying, hey, move this money here to there. Whether I agree with that or not, it's a principled stance that makes sense through the Constitution. But he's not like he doesn't support Trump wanting a border wall. He just wants to do it the right way, because the bottom line is, and we've saw this with Biden, Trump did a ton of EOs that did really good things. And what did Biden do the first fucking day? Took them all away. All of them. Gone. Because they couldn't get it passed through Congress. He couldn't get law. If we cannot get Trump's executive orders into law, they will mean nothing again. They will do what they do for 4 years. And we will have a good, successful 4 years. But God forbid JD Vance or DeSantis or Vivek or someone else from the right does not become president again. The Democrat president will once again write off every fucking EO that Trump did. Every single one. On day one. And this is my problem that I have with the whole entire get along to go along with another fucking uniparty show. But all right. Rant over about Mike Johnson. Let me go search this, because this was something that was concerning. Elon Musk introducing a new algorithm. Let me see if I can find the post, because this motherfucker posts more than anybody that I know. But yeah, sorry about my rant there. I hope everyone enjoyed me ranting and raving. It felt good. It felt good to be back in fucking ranting. Not gonna lie. It felt nice. It felt nice. God, Elon, you post way too much. Jesus Christmas. He announced, so overall, while I'm looking for it, he announced that there's a new algorithm that is going to promote positivity while basically wanting to get negativity out of there. And it's an incredibly concerning statement. And Elon has been sliding more and more this way as we have, seen him go. And let's see. I can't find it. If someone can find it, send it over to me. But overall, it's a bad policy. It's a bad thing. And I've seen some people, I think Elijah Schaffer, let me see if Elijah posted, if I can find his. Elijah Schaffer posted up what will be deemed, good and bad content. What will be deemed like negative content that you could be fucked over for, basically, if you could be taken out. Let's see. Why are all these people posting so much? Either way, it's bad, right? Because this is limiting free speech. It's what it comes down to. This is limiting free speech, and this is somebody else deciding what is negative and what is positive, because that changes, right? What me as a conservative thinks is negative and positive, A libertarian might think a different thing that's negative and positive, and a leftist might think a different thing, negative and positive. And we now have to trust what Elon Musk believes is negative and positive. And no, absolutely not. That is curtailing free speech, which is something that he has talked about. He's like, oh, we're going to make this a free speech platform and blah, 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 blah. And no, Elon, you are going against everything that you said, and you are becoming Jack Dorsey, where I want to see more positive stuff on here. So we're going to make sure the positive stuff gets promoted and the negative stuff kind of goes away. It's like, no, dude, if I design my feed and my algorithm to see a bunch of negative shit, I should be able to. And that shouldn't be hidden away from me. It's not up to you what gets bigger and what doesn't. And he's playing that. And we're going to see what way it leans. He also went the way of taking away a ton of blue check marks. Now, granted, the people that he took away from were pretty much shitheads. But at the same time, if they paid for it, they should have it. At least until that payment is done, unless you're returning their money, right? If Elon's returning their money, cool. Now, he demonetized a bunch of them. I think this had to do with like Jake Shields and people like that. I forget. Laura Loomer was one of them. They were demonetized. Their blue check marks are taken away. And the big thing for me is a lot of these people had subscriptions. Their subscriptions were taken away. And it's like, okay, you want to take away their blue check mark? Fine. Just return the money for the blue check. You want to take away their monetization because you don't want to pay them because you don't agree with them because it's your private company? Cool. Don't pay them. Your ex. You don't got to do that. But if you want to take away somebody's right to subscribe to them if they qualify, that's fucked up. That's equivalent of basically shadow banning. And then we're seeing this whole entire movement, negativity and positivity. Well, we can already see who he believes is negative, right? He already showed who he believes is negative. And that the people that maybe thousands and thousands and thousands of people want to listen to them and see them post on the daily, they're going to get downvoted. They can't subscribe to him anymore. Yes, you could probably get notifications, but you mean you wanted to support these people because you believed in what they said, even if it's fucked up. That is what free speech is. We need to, here's the thing. I want these people out in the open because I want to see the dumb shit they say because I want to know who the fuck they are and who to avoid. But controlling that is turning this platform no different than what Dorsey has. Can somebody please bring Parler back? Can we get this back yet? Like, can someone please do something good? Because, you know, Getter and Gab suck, okay? Truth isn't great. So it's like we need somewhere. Parler was actually getting somewhere, and that's why it got fucked over, right? But overall, what Elon is doing on X is not a good thing. And I've said it many a times in the show. I do not trust Elon Musk. And I said on X with a post, and I gave Shane Cashman the credit because Shane has been on top of this, that Elon should not be anywhere near the levers of power. He shouldn't at all. He should not be near the levers of power. He should not. Here we go. Here's the post. I said right here. Let me share it real quick. Give myself a pat on the back. I'll read my own post because that's why you have your own fucking podcast, right? I said, after what's been going on X the last week, everyone should be questioning Elon's involvement in the government. We're seeing his true colors slowly come out, and he shouldn't be anywhere near the levers of power. At Shane Cashman has been all over this regarding Elon for a long time now. And if anybody doesn't follow Shane Cashman, Shane's fan-fucking-tastic. He has been poking the bear and prodding Elon. He's going to be one of the people that eventually are going to get shadow banned. Maybe not because that's a fucking great portrait over here by George Alexopoulos. Anyway, maybe he's not because Elon likes Tim Pool, I believe. But I mean, he has been on top of poking the bear with Elon Musk and hasn't seen Elon Musk for who he is. And I've said it myself. I do not trust a climate psycho. I do not trust a person now who is curtailing free speech, even though he claimed to be a free speech absolutionist. And we've seen this already. And we saw who he hired. What the fuck was that name of that chick? Who was like a World Economic Forum chick? It's not like he hired like the greatest free speech people. It's not like he brought in fucking Ron Paul to run it or something like that. So I don't trust him. I never did. And now we're looking at this. Does he belong near the levers of power? Who the fuck, is he going to belong near Doge? I don't care about his acumen with businesses. That doesn't preclude me to want to trust him. And I don't. Let me get some comments here with Nate G. Nate G saying Massey has the luxury and discipline to want to do it the correct way. Trump has 4 years to cram it in. Yes, but here's the thing, Nate, with that. If Trump doesn't get some of it into law, then nothing matters. I understand wanting to cram it in. Listen, EO the fuck out of everything. But you shot yourself in the foot by getting your speaker that's not going to participate. So if you aren't going to be able to get any of your EOs into true law, then what's the point? Nate G coming back again. Sam Hyde's video is 45 minutes of gold. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. Funny as fuck and well on point. Absolutely, I'll watch because Sam Hyde's actually hilarious sometimes. Nate G, the worst part was the subscription removal. That's a voluntary transaction. Exactly. And Nate coming back saying you were right, Alex, about Elon, 1,000 apologies. Listen, you don't have to apologize. I understand. And I get the need and the want to sit there and be like, hey, Trump trusts him. I trust Trump. Let's roll. I get it. I understand it completely. But there comes a point where, that it's just the vibe. Like the things I see, it's like, from what I've heard, people can change. And I do think Elon has changed. I think Elon has come a little more to the right. I do believe that just by osmosis of being around so many people, he's kind of shifted a little bit. Don't get me wrong. But I think some things don't change. You don't go from being someone who is sitting there talking about the climate so much and wanting to be concerned to fully shifting away from it and not having that as a concern. He said, he did say at one point that, we need to have less people. He's reversed on that. Fine. But I don't think the guy's fully now fuck the climate. I don't care. I don't think he's on the side where hey, climate change is not a man-made thing. It's just natural, right? I don't think he's on that side. That's fine. But that doesn't mean we should trust him. His whole goal is to go to Mars. And why is he going to Mars? Because he believes we're going to destroy our planet. And that's why he does everything he does. I don't think people understand this about him. Every company he owns is to power SpaceX to get to Mars because he wants to leave. And it's not because he thinks Mars is cool. It's because he thinks that we are killing ourselves, which we might be. Who knows? We'll find out who's right eventually, right? But people need to understand that's the guy's motivation. All right, so let's keep going here. I want to bring up this fun post because we talk about Speaker Johnson getting his speakership. There was this fun tidbit. So we have our former guest over here, Simon Ateba, saying, outrage, Delegate Stacey Plaskett explodes, demands answers on why delegates from the U.S. territories and the Districts of Columbia can't vote on House Speaker. Now, I'm going to play this because this woman's an idiot. But she's an idiot in the sense of her grandstanding. She knew what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was trying to do. She knows the policy. She knows the rules. But what she also knows, and there's another thing I said on X, she also knows that the Democrat followers are stupid. Okay? Bottom line, that your rank and file Democrat that is going to see this on CNN, MSNBC, whatever, wherever they ingest, NPR is going to talk about it or did already. They are going to sit there and go, yeah, why don't the delegates get a vote at the speakership? They should. They're in the body. Why don't they? And not realizing that the rules have been in place. It's not like she wasn't around, for other speaker votes. And it's and the fact that, Democrats clap for her. They all know what's going on. This is a dog and pony show for their stupid voters. That's all it is. So let's see what this idiot has to say.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from the Virgin Islands seek recognition?
Speaker, I have a parliamentary inquiry. I note that the names of the representatives from the Americas Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the District of Columbia were not called, representing collectively 4 million Americans.
I think it's hilarious that the Democrats start fucking clapping for that. Representing 4 million Americans. It's yeah, you talked about a bunch of territories representing people that are territories. They're not are they American? They're Americans, right? I guess, kind of. They're Americans, Puerto Ricans, but they don't give a fuck about America. They just want to get the benefits from it. You ask a Puerto Rican, are they American or Puerto Rican? They're going to tell you they're fucking Puerto Rican, right? Okay? If we're being quite honest. So they want the benefits of being American without actually having to fucking do all the other shit that goes along with it. So let's continue here. With these seals clapping on the Democrat side, fucking idiots.
Mr. Speaker, collectively the largest per capita of veterans in this country.
Does the gentlelady have a parliamentary
I asked
inquiry?
why they were not called. Have some respect.
The other side is educating her. You can hear him and be like, the house is in order. You get the fuck out of here. Like, there's some on the Republican side. They're like, sit the fuck down. Have some respect.
It's not going to take.
And she said it's not going to take that long. You want to know why she says it's not going to take that long? Because the bitch knows the rules. She knows why she wasn't called. She's just trying to grandstand.
Gentlelady's recognized.
I asked why they were not called from the parliamentarian, please.
Delegates-elect and the resident commissioner-elect are not qualified to vote. Representatives-elect are the only individuals
And you have people screaming, wrong, wrong. Again, they know the rules.
qualified to vote in the election of a speaker. As provided in Section 36 of the House Rules and Manual, the speaker is elected by a majority of the members-elect voting by surname.
Body and this nation has a territories and a
What's hilarious is now she goes on to grandstand. Just listen to this stupid fucking grandstanding. And I love the Republicans telling her to sit the fuck down.
colonies problem. What was
Well, let
supposed
me go back real quick because this idiot, listen to this.
has a territories and a colonies problem. What was
be in
supposed
order.
to be temporary has
Gentlelady,
now
this is
effectively become permanent. We must do something about this
The
problem
gentlelady is no
so
longer
that these
recognized.
4 million
They cut her fucking mic off and I love it. I love they cut her mic off.
But I have a voice, and
They put it back on to turn it back off. Stupid idiot.
It has to be in order.
And the Democrats are just, listen to you, you did a good job.
The reading clerk will now call the name.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Again, like I said, these people, someone like this fucking idiot, she knows the rules. She wanted her 5 minutes so that she created a talking point for some of the news stations, your NPRs and shit like that, to sit there and have the conversation. Well, should the delegates be able to vote? Should we be representing the territories in the gay NPR voice and whatever the fuck they do? And it's like, because, apparently on NPR, we talked about this. If you have no inflection and if you just speak like this, if you just have a kind of whispered voice, they're convinced that this makes you sound smart. And that's why on NPR, this is how they speak. And I mean, it's so fucking stupid. But yeah, this is what she was doing it for. And she's a clown. And clowns deserve to be treated like clowns, but I just thought it was funny. But we are going to switch in politics. I have a few things. I have a few sports things. I have one nerdy thing and then some kind of miscellaneous stuff that we're going to end off with. Not going to go too crazy. But this I did find interesting right here. Right now, I'm believing that college is basically the pros. This headline, highest paid player in college football history. Transfer QB Darian Mensa's Duke deal is a sign of the times. So this guy's coming from Tulane. He's a quarterback from Tulane, transferring over to Duke. 5 million budgets become 15 million and 10 million become 25 million in a market rife with NIL inflation. A 3-star high school prospect 2 years ago out of California, Darian Mensa, which I hate that. That doesn't mean anything. What has he done in college? Hit the transfer portal with an eye-popping asking price that perhaps best illustrated what name, image, and likeness has turned into in college football. And let's be very clear. I think that the NIL is a cool idea. Players being able to get paid because of what they provide. And if they're popular enough, they get money. Now, what we're going to see happen here is something that I'm fully against. I believe firmly that if you are a school and you are offering a player an NIL deal, that is a contract. They are now a professional athlete. The schools should be barred from seeking these NIL deals with outside sources to attract players to come to the schools by guaranteeing these deals. Because we've seen these backfire. We've seen players suing schools now. I think Florida State's getting sued because they were not, these players were promised like, I think 300,000 or something like that, 250,000 in NIL deals and they didn't pony up. But it's like, If a player is able to go and seek out the NIL deal on their own, or they hire an agent that speaks on their behalf and does it, that's different. That's fine. They're going out and getting their own deal. But if a school is going, hey, I guarantee, listen, we have this NIL thing in place where we can get you this deal if you just come play for us. That is a contract. That is a agreement to pay the athlete. Yes, it is an outside group paying them, but it is getting you a kickback of getting that athlete. And to me, that's no different than signing a contract. And I think that that is something that the NCAA needs to look at with terms of NIL is schools being able to guarantee NILs as in their basically contracts. Because what you'll read here is it reads like a contract. So let's keep going. The Tulane redshirt freshman quarterback. No, hold on. Let's keep going. If I had the article up, I'm an idiot. Stupid idiot. Anyway, the Tulane redshirt quarterback had a strong year, throwing for 2,723 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, while leading the Green Wave to a 9-4 record. While he entered the transfer portal December 8th amid rumors his coach, John Sumrall, could be on the move to another job, it was understandable to expect considerable interest for the young 6'3", 200-pound quarterback. And here's the thing. I don't mind, and the whole transfer thing is crazy. Transfer portal is another thing they need to get in order. But this is something where I don't mind. This kid came there. The coach that convinced him to come play is leaving. He wants out. I don't blame the kid in terms of wanting to transfer. If your coach is going to go, why should you stay, right? Unless you really love the school, love the program. Like, if you're a big time one, but that's fine. But it's like, if your coach is potentially dipping out and that's who I came here for, why would I stay? Don't mind the kid leaving for that reason. 24/7 Sports ranked Mensa the number 7 quarterback and number 72 prospect in all the transfer portal, and 24/7 Sports is shaky at best with their rankings. Nate coming in with a comment. The NIL is too crazy. Marshall had to decline the bowl after getting a bid because half their team went into portal. Exactly. It is insane. And what it is these kids are seeking contracts to go and get guaranteed NIL deals at schools. It's a contract. This is not like ever what it was meant to be. I don't think it is, at least. Let's keep going here. What followed, however, speaks to a situation where money has flooded in from all corners and players hitting the market have never benefited more. According to sources around college football, Mensa received a deal from Duke. A deal from Duke. This is not an NIL deal, people. This is a contract. This is a contract. A deal from Duke. The school is paying the player to play on their team. This is not the player benefiting from their name. This is not an NIL deal. If Mensa sat there and looked at the market and talked to companies around Duke, and these companies were like, hey, we are interested, come to Duke, we want to pay you, that is different. That is a player, an agent, whatever it is, finding their own thing, which is what the NIL was meant to be. My name, my image, my likeness is going to bring money to this school, and I want to benefit from my popularity. Not, I am Duke. I have an NIL deal ready for you. Come play for me, and I can guarantee as a university that you will get paid this money. That is not the NIL. Nate G saying also, if you were getting paid, it should be contractually obligated to play the bowl. You're being paid for shit's sakes. Agreed. And that's another whole thing. Players not playing a ton of bowls now drives me crazy, but let's keep going. Mensa received a deal from Duke that is believed to pay him $8 million over 2 years. A $4 million annual average would make him the highest paid player in college football history, unofficially. A year ago, the going rate for a top-of-the-market quarterback like Cam Ward, who went from Washington State to Miami, or Riley Leonard, who left Duke for Notre Dame, was a little less than half that. And again, guaranteed money sending these kids places from the schools, not the players getting it themselves. They talk about in college basketball, BYU expected to pay a top recruit, AJ Dybonsta, over $5 million for likely 1 year of his services, blah, blah. NCAA was neutered earlier this year in its efforts to curb what has essentially become pay-for-play, which is crazy that they were neutered to try and get this under control because they have to. You want to talk about this getting crazy? I mean, and big schools benefiting and stuff. And it's look at what's going on with Michigan, right? And I like Barstool. I like Dave Portnoy. I think he's fine. But the fact that Dave Portnoy has openly said, hey, we are going to guarantee a massive NIL for a quarterback to come to Michigan. And every time one leaves, we will pay another one to come here is fucking crazy. And it's going to work. It did work. I'm pretty sure they got somebody. It's like that shouldn't be fine. And, it's better than Michigan guaranteeing it, right? It's better than Michigan saying, hey, come here. We guarantee you 10 mil from Dave Portnoy. Okay. Like that's better. It's still kind of tampering, I believe. And there needs to be tampering rules. They unrolled this half-assed. They need to get this under control and be better about it. There needs to be tampering rules. There needs to be other shit because it used to be so difficult and so, I remember NCAA used to be airtight about so much shit. And now it just seems like a free-for-all and the NCAA has no hold on it. I'm not a fan of the NCAA. The NCAA fucking sucks. But this is just getting insane. Let's keep going. $4 million annual salary will put Mensa on par or higher than 9 base salaries of Power 4 head coaches in 2024, according to USA Today's coaching salary database, which again, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if players getting paid more than a coach. It happens all the time in the NFL. They still listen to the coaches. And it's not like coaches deserve to get paid all this money either. But I digress. That includes Big 12 winning Arizona State coach Kenny Dillingham, Vanderbilt coach Clark Lee, and the recently fired West Virginia coach Neil Brown. I guarantee they're all millionaires, so I'm not concerned about them. Basketball craze Duke, which went 9-3 this season under first-year head coach Manny Diaz, is one of the best years in program history. Going this big in the portal and NIL market is a sign of changing times. Sources have indicated that the Blue Devils may have moved on from quarterback Malik Murphy, who ended up at Oregon State, a cutthroat move after Murphy delivered one of the best seasons in recent Duke quarterback history, and a further indication of where college football has arrived. And look at this. There's free agency going on, right? We're going to get rid of this kid because we can grab this kid under contract. This kid, whatever, he's going to go get a good contract somewhere else. Like, this is pros. This is another version of the pros. The college football is done being a amateur-esque, or even pretending to be amateur, right? Because kids got paid. Boosters used to pay them all the time. We know that the top kids got paid. But now it's so out there in the open. And before, the boosters used to throw them like 10,000, 100,000. It wasn't this big thing. Now kids are getting guaranteed millions. And, it used to be, okay, a great player will insure their legs. They would insure their hands if they're a receiver, or their arm if they're a quarterback. So if they get hurt and they can't go pro, they'd make like $10 million off of that piece because that insurance was covering it just in case they got hurt. They can't go make money in the pros. Whatever it was, that makes sense. And schools were starting to do that. I know Colorado, I think, has insurance on Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. And schools were starting to insure players their assets, I guess their best assets as a player, just in case they got hurt and couldn't go pro. That was kind of cool. I actually like that. But what's going on now is wild. Nate G saying Malik is sick. He was third string at Texas, led to solid Duke squad and the slowest black guy you'll ever see. I don't know, man. I don't know. What was the one guy from Marshall? Byron Leftwich. Byron Leftwich was really fucking slow. Think Byron Leftwich would give him a run for his money. Let's keep going. Monza was repped by Young Money, APAA sports agent Noah Reisenfeld, and Adi Von Gontard on the deal. Darren Heitner, a well-known sports law attorney, assisted as legal counsel and called it a groundbreaking deal. Groundbreaking Darren Mensa NIL deals with Duke and the NIL collective Durham Devils Club in a post social media. Now, again, they represented their client. And they did their job. They absolutely did their job and they cleaned up. But man, it's crazy. Nate G saying I cleaned up with Duke just because I was a Malik Murphy mark. I love it. Duke and Mensa are just one example of a market that's exploded. Now they talk about some more and things like that. Washington State transfer, top Mater, Mateer, top-ranked quarterback, is believed to get command money, similar neighborhood to go to Oklahoma. I mean, they go into more about why money's up and things like that. How there's a House settlement to give $20.5 million to each Power 4 school, which is, I like the cap of $20 million budgets and whatever. That these Power 4 schools can't just spend like crazy. To kind of keep some sort of fairness there. I'm happy Rutgers is about to get $20 million to spend because they can use it. But speaking of Rutgers, don't comment about Rutgers and they're fucking giving up the bowl game. I'm so pissed at them. Shiano needs to be on the hot seat. Anyway, but I mean, It's crazy. They're gonna have a 20 million cap, but it's just so wild. And the house is getting involved. And it's like, man, what they're saying right now is teams before that 20 million cap gets on, they're in a race to burn all their money because they need to spend it now, all the money they have before that 20 million cap. And it's crazy. Like they have more than 20 million to burn per year. And they wonder why people can't compete. Why other schools can't compete. So that's that piece. I mean, it's sad to see that college is becoming the pros in so many ways. Do the kids deserve to be paid? Absolutely. And I think at its heart, the NIL was well-meaning. That those who brought in the NIL, I don't think could have seen it being abused this way. Maybe they did, and they just kind of figured they would have time to figure it out. But the abuse of it right now is crazy. And it's, again, they need to get it in order because I am not for schools guaranteeing money, guaranteeing contracts. Nate, you asking, who would you rather have than Schiano? He gets you guys competitive in the best conference in football by far. I mean, Nate, the thing is, we're now officially a Power 4 school. We've had some success beating some Power 4 teams, which we haven't done. I get it. Schiano's been the guy there. But it's like, how do we drop that game? I get it. Then listen, there were some high parts, right? I think Kalimanakis showed that him playing next year might be a good thing. If they don't throw the ball next year with the thing is Kalimanakis, then fucking crazy because they have Ian Strong coming back. They have Miller coming back. We found our running back of the future in Raymond. There were some good things that happened in that bowl game. But if Rutgers does not take a step next year, big fucking step, then, I mean, you can't have the fear that, oh, we're only going to have Schiano, only Schiano, no one else, because you become an attractive school. Here's the thing. We're now going to be getting the $20 million NIL money, right? I don't think Rutgers had $20 million to fucking spend to begin with. So it's nice to have a cap or $20 million there, okay? That's number one. Number two, there has to be an attraction there now. There has to be an attraction there now because before you weren't getting the TV money, you weren't getting everything. Rutgers was under penalty for a little bit with the way they entered. I don't know the exact ins and outs, but they are finally getting all the money from the Big Ten, all of the money that comes to them from being a part of it, the TV deals and everything. So there's no excuse why they aren't an attractive job at this point. Because even if Schiano goes, you have your backyard is Jersey. Okay, Jersey has some of the best football talent in the country, and I will go to war with any of that. You have Long Island, which isn't far, which is another really good football bastion. There's a pipeline to Florida from Jersey. For whatever reason, there's a Florida pipeline. And you're now in the Big Ten, so you can compete and go get people from the Big Ten. And there's been some big-time players that have come out of Rutgers. It's not like Rutgers has, a bunch of schlubs. Obviously, Ray Rice was in the NFL for a long time. Isaiah Pacheco is a stud over in Kansas City. You're going to have Monungai playing on Sundays. You have a ton of Rutgers players playing on Sundays. Both the Meltons, Bo Melton and Max Melton, play every Sunday. So it's not a surprise that the pros come from them. And even if Schiano's not there, the fear can't be, well, who? Well, what do you mean, well, who? Be a GM and do your fucking job. Be an athletic director and do your fucking job and find somebody. Find a qualified guy from the Big Ten that could do the job, okay? Because my biggest shot on Schiano is he does not develop quarterbacks. Kalimanakis is a transfer. And they finally let him throw and he started playing better. So we'll see what happens next year. But okay, after next year, what's a quarterback after that? He fucked up Gavin Wimsatt. Okay, Gavin Wimsatt maybe wasn't that good, but he never gave the kid a chance. What's the next kid? Who's there? I don't see the heir apparent. And that's my concern. In the Big Ten, you need to run the football, but you also need to have a quarterback that can make enough throws to win games because you have to throw the ball against the big schools. You can't just run it down their throat against your Ohio States, your Michigans, your Wisconsins, your stuff like that. You can't just ram it down their throat. That's not going to work. You need to throw the football, and he doesn't. He doesn't throw the football early in the season to cream puffs because he wants to accumulate wins. And then when it comes down to these big games, finally he's having this kid throw 40 times when the most they were throwing was 20 the first 6 games. So, I mean, that's my issue with Schiano. Nachi saying a loss to Kansas State is no shame. No, but not with the way they lost. Up 17 going into the fourth, no reason you give that game back. Mohamed Sanu. Yes, Mohamed Sanu was another great Rutgers guy. Kenny Britt, if he wasn't a dumbass, would have been great. He was fantastic on the Titans. I could keep go. There's plenty. Bill Belichick just recruited everyone from Rutgers to play defense. So it's like, yeah, and Mohamed Sanu was a Rutgers group. Mohamed Sanu is fantastic. Actually, we are friendly with one of the track coaches that coached him over in Jersey. While he was a track, he was a standout in track as well. But so, I mean, it's sad. It's sad to see. And I'm going to move on to another thing that to me is sad to see what college football has become, because once again, officials fucking suck. So this kid for Toledo wide receiver Junior Vandeross, third, was assessed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after this touchdown celebration. Now I want to full screen this because this touchdown celebration is fantastic and should never be penalized. So let's see what happened here.
They get to Wallensack.
Gets the screen, gets up the sideline, and he's about to get in the end zone, and he pulls the he got a penalty. So I want to watch this again. We'll mute it. We'll just keep it playing. I actually like the fact that this is a penalty, that he did the the Marshawn Lynch, and he got a penalty. It is, I think it's hilarious. I think it's terrible that the officials penalized him, because you know something, it's like, what's the penalty there? If he was just diving backwards, what are you going to call it unsportsmanlike because he dove backwards to look at them? He's allowed to fucking dive and do a flip. You're telling me some of these old ass referees understood the whole Dick reference? I don't think so. I just think this was officials being assholes. I mean, come on now. Let the kids celebrate. They're in the bowl. This touchdown is going to tie the game up. Extra point puts them up by a point against Pitt. And you're going to sit there and get yourself in the game. Let them have fun. Let them do home Dick. I thought that was funny. I thought it was ridiculous that he was penalized for it. But, I mean, let's pause him at the right spot here. But as I continue talking about it, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. That's where we should pause it. Home Dick. That's exactly what we should pause it at. Nate G coming in with the, before they were Big Ten and shared a conference with my Huskers, I really liked Rutgers. I mean, yeah, that's back when they were Big East, right? And then Big East was what they were. And it was cool because them and the Huskers actually had, not the Cornhuskers, before they were Big Ten. What was Nebraska in with us? I forget. But yeah, before they went and shared it, you really got you. Now I can't read English. Before they were against Nebraska, you like them. Now I get it. You can't like them now. But yeah, no, they were good in the Big East. They almost went to a national title. They just blew the fucking chance to go to the championship after the big win against Louisville. Again, Shiano led them to a big game against Louisville and then shit the bed when they couldn't get there. But yeah, I just want to bring that up. That was kind of tedious that that kid gets a penalty for doing one of the greatest celebrations of all time. But let's jump in here. I'm going to share this tab here because Fandom Pulse has this headline, disaster. And this was from the 26th. Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim. The War of Rohirrim heads to digital after just 2 weekends in theaters. I mean, guys, we knew this was going to flop. And I mean, I was getting reports, not reports, but I was reading on X that I'm in theaters to go see War of Rohirrim and there's no one here. And sometimes it can be facetious and you can't trust it, but going to streaming after 2 weeks in theaters, I mean, how bad could it be? Like, I'll probably watch it now because it's in streaming. I probably fall asleep if it sucks, but it's like, how do you fuck this up? It's still a mystery to me how they consistently fuck up Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is as ready-made as it is. And to fuck it up is, especially in an animation, because animation, you can have fun with it. You can actually do some real stuff that you read in the books and bring it there. But man, with the Big 12, I forgot Nebraska was Big 12. Nebraska versus Oklahoma, Texas versus Colorado, Mr. Tradition. Yeah, there was a lot there. I mean, you could be Notre Dame and just not care and continue to do tradition and not go into a conference and be rewarded for not being in a conference. But I digress. I'm rooting for Penn State, and I don't like Penn State, but I'm rooting for Penn State to kick their fucking teeth in. I think it's them. Are they playing Ohio State? I don't know who the fuck they're playing. Anyway, we're hearing another girl boss lesbian fan fiction. That's the issue. I mean, it's just as bad. I wasn't going to bring it up, but Nate, did you guys see that they're making fucking Harry Osborn a black chick? And I'm assuming she's a lesbian, okay? Assuming she's like they fundamentally change everything. And Harry and Norman Osborn's a black dude. And it's like in the new Spider-Man cartoon, it's like, come on. Like, it's unnecessary to do these types of changes. Like, it's so dumb. Like, if you want to make him black, whatever. But to turn him now into a chick, like, what sense does that make? It Harry's best friend could be a black woman. So can you. Like, fuck you. My God. Penn State versus Notre Dame. We all lose. I mean, here's the thing. I don't root for Penn State, but I'm actually semi-rooting for Penn State because of where they were after the whole Paterno Sandusky shit to come to where they are now. Good for them. Fucking like really like the fact that SMU was in the playoff and Penn State is now in the semi. It's like to crawl back from the death penalty like both of those schools did. SMU obviously took much longer, but Penn State to crawl back in, good for them, and go beat the pretenders. Fuck Notre Dame. So yeah, with Spider-Man and War Rohirrim, like it's so bad. But let's get to some miscellaneous fun stuff. Because this to me, why is it always a fucking woolly mammoth? Scientists are obsessed with bringing back woolly mammoths. And I'm just like, why, people? Number one, they're fucking massive. Do we have a climate to actually put them in? You talk about polar bears, going extinct, even though they're not, they're like doubling. But you're talking about polar bears and like the ice caps and shit. Put a fucking mammoth on it. See if it doesn't break. And now put a herd of them. Like, what the fuck? Why are we obsessed with mammoths? What are they going to eat? How much are they going to eat? Don't bring them back. But there's been talks about bringing them back. And then Newsmax has this article, mammoth remains found nearly intact in Siberia. Listen, I know they call Newsmax fake news. I'm hoping this is fake news. Jesus. Let's read this real quick. Researchers in Siberia are conducting tests on a juvenile mammoth whose remarkably well-preserved remains were discovered in thawing permafrost after more than 50,000 years. The creature, resembling a small elephant with a trunk, was recovered from the Batagaika crater, a huge depression more than 260 feet deep. The carcass, weighing more than 240 pounds, was brought to the surface on an improvised stretcher, said Maxim Cherpasov, head of the Lasarov Mammoth Museum Laboratory in the city of Yatsuk. What does that say? Is that Yakutsk? I can't fucking say Russian. He said the mammoth was probably a little over a year old when it died. 240 pounds at a year old. Fuck me. But tests would enable the scientists to confirm this more accurately. The fact that its head and trunk had survived was particularly unusual. Quote, as a rule, the part that thaws out first, especially the trunk, is often eaten by modern predators or birds. Here, for example, even though the forelimbs have already been eaten, the head is remarkably well preserved, Cherpasov said. In the latest of a series of spectacular discoveries in the Russian permafrost, last month, scientists in the same vast northeastern region known as Sak or Yakutia showed off a 32,000-year-old remains of a tiny saber-toothed cat cub, while earlier this year, a 44,000-year-old wolf carcass was uncovered. So, obviously, there were some people living in fucking, there were animals living in that Russian area before the Ice Age froze them over. If you want to know your history, there's a great documentary called Ice Age, Dawn of the, Ice Age Continental Drift. They talk about all this. But anyway, there's a series of them, Ice Ages. They're great. I digress. But stop finding mammoths. Stop finding shit. I don't like it when scientists find shit at this point anymore because they want to bring everything back. Like, none of them watch Jurassic Park and they all want to do it. They all need to stop it. Please stop. But I found that article cool. I like sciencey stuff. I found that to be pretty dope. But we're going to go on to this story about a fucking Scrooge. From New York Post, stressed Amazon driver Grinch dumps 80 packages in Massachusetts woods days before holidays. I mean, this was right before, and it's like, come on. I know they work. I know the Amazon drivers work their asses off during the holiday, but you know what you're getting into, and drivers get paid pretty well, which is why people work their asses off to become Amazon drivers, UPS, FedEx, whatever, even DHL. That's like the cream of the crop position. You get paid well for doing that. But to be a dick like this, I mean, so let's see. The holiday could have stink, stank, stunk. I hate this person already. Who is this? Alex Oliveira. Like, you have my name. Don't be retarded. Anyway, an Amazon delivery driver ditched dozens of packages on the side of a Massachusetts road just days before the holidays, and the Grinch later told cops they did it because they were stressed. Like, wood chipper for them too. Could have ruined people's fucking Christmas. A sergeant in Lakeville, about an hour south of Boston, stumbled upon the cache of packages discarded in the woods while out on patrol around 2 a.m. Sunday morning. Lakeville police said in a statement, the bounty was neatly stacked in 3 Amazon delivery totes, and when they were brought down to the police station, the officers counted at least 80 packages. I mean, at least they were nice, and he was nice enough not to like fucking launch them, but like just to drop them off. Like, what a piece of shit. Baffled with no reports of packages being stolen, officers notified the local Amazon distribution center and handed over the items. But Monday, an Amazon delivery driver showed up at the station and owned up to dumping the packages during the Saturday evening shift. And told police they did it because of the stress. I mean, it seems like they could have gotten away with it. I don't know how hard they were investigating, but I mean, Nachi says not the chipper, but 10 lashes, maybe 10 lashes, or maybe just, I mean, I wouldn't want to stone him because you get the right stone in the side of the head, you could fucking die. But yeah, maybe some lashes. That might work. A few lashes in the public square. At this time, we are not seeking criminal charges and are considering this a human resources matter for Amazon. I mean, they should be fired. Chief Matthew Perkins said in a statement, adding that the unidentified driver was going to report the infraction to their manager. Like, I mean, good that they turned himself in. The cops are like, go tell your fucking boss, you idiot. I would like to commend Sergeant Sean Robert. Thank you, Sean Robert. You are Santa Claus for his discovery of these unattended packages while on routine patrol. He added, Sergeant Robert likely saved Christmas headache for many local residents by noticing these totes and getting back to Amazon, hopefully in time for a holiday delivery. I mean, it really is great because people, unfortunately, we have to rely on Amazon for basically fucking everything right now. So, though the incident was resolved for the Lakeville Amazon customers, others across the country have been blah, blah, blah. Okay. They talked about the stupid fucking Teamster strike a little bit at the end here, but hopefully that person got fired. And I mean, come on. Just fucking quit your job, dude. Like, don't dump the packages. Like, finish your shift and tell them you had a nervous breakdown and I can't come back for a little bit. Like, that's like the right thing to do. Don't dump the packages. Like, I'm happy everything got resolved, but what an asshole. All right. We've been going for a little over 2 hours. Obviously, I'm back with a bang here. I had a whole bunch to talk about. I appreciate everyone that's been hanging out and watching. Last thing I want to talk about here is a fucking whore. That's how we're ending this out. A whore. Female prison officer, this is by Daily Mail. Female prison officer suspended over sex tape videoed with burly tattooed inmate in cell at jail where another guard fell pregnant by armed robber and phones, drugs, and alcohol are easily available. I mean, there needs to be some fucking fixes here because this is 2 women. I remember reading the story a little while ago about another chick and seeing about like a sex tape video that was going around the fucking place with the corrections officer. Like, a serious question. Can we not have, like, can we just not have female corrections officers? Can these bitches not control themselves? Like, is there really something to women being attracted by the bad boy? Apparently, because these hoes are getting fucked in jail with these inmates. These same people that they are supposed to be keeping in line and having authority over, they are now giving up their fucking authority because they are getting plowed from behind. Let's go with the story a little bit. A female prison officer has been suspended after allegedly being filmed having sex with a burly tattooed inmate. Again, it's annoying that they don't give me the name of this person. This person should be on fucking blast. The 19-year-old has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in a public office after a video of the supposed romp was taken at HMP 5 Wells last week. The footage captured at the Wellingborough prison allegedly showed the officer performing a sex act on the convict before they had intercourse, the Sun reports. The video has reportedly been shared with other prisoners at the 235 million euro Category C jail, as well as friends who are not behind bars. Concerns regarding the availability of drugs and other illicit items, as well as food shortages and staff safety at HMP 5 Wells, were raised by independent inspectors last October. So, again, not the best prison, apparently. In their most recent report, the Independent Monitoring Board, IMB, determined that several issues had worsened, with drugs said to be routinely available. So again, these are criminals, hardened criminals, that are getting drugs given to them. During the year-long review, at least 25% of prisoners at HMP 5 Wells who were randomly tested for illegal substances were found to be positive. A source branded the incident as shocking in light of scandals in other prisons, telling the publication that the prison worker's career is effectively over. I hope so. The hoe is getting fucked. The female warder is being incredibly stupid, the source said, before quipping that the prison officer had risked everything. I mean, I guess this is one of the pictures of one of the hoes. Rachel Stanton. Oh, this is the other one that got pregnant. This is her. The mother of 5. Yeah, this is the other thing. This other chick was a mother of 5, was banging someone, got pregnant, and then they got broken up. Like, I mean, I'm not going to continue. This is fucking wild. Okay. In a need to be equal, they decided to put these females in a space with a bunch of men. Nate's saying long prison sentences for these idiots. Yes. And Nate, guards should be same sex. Agreed. You run less of a risk, right? But this is bound to happen. Okay. This is natural. If you put enough men and enough women in the same area, there is a chance that regardless of the circumstance, you are going to get a few of them that hook up. That's just natural. The law of attraction and things like that is what it is. So is it surprising to me that when you put these female prison guards in an all-male prison, that they eventually end up having sex? Or you put male prison guards in an all-female prison, that the guys will fuck some of the inmates? No. Shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Not everybody has the same moral compass. Not everyone's a good person, okay? We like to pretend flowers and things like that, like, oh, everyone's great. Not everyone's a good person. So it's expected, and it's fucking gross that these bitches would be fucking these inmates. But I mean, it just goes to show that other woman, she was a mother of 5, and she was getting plowed out by a fucking prison inmate and had a kid with that prison inmate. Like, not the greatest judge of character, I guess. But all right, with that positive note, we are going to close the fuck out of here. I'm happy to be back. About 12 days since my last show. I appreciate everyone that hung out, that watched the show, whether it was on X, Facebook, YouTube. It wasn't on Rumble, but it is on Kick. It was not on Rumble today. Hopefully, I did the whole verification shit. I didn't know about that. Did the whole verification thing. Hopefully it'll be on the next time. I mean, I wonder where our Kick friend went. Our Kick friend that had the thing that they want. I do not want to search for Dawn is Gone Heretic if I don't know that it's not a porn, so I will not be searching for that. She never came back. 34 female, like, seems like it was a sex thing. I don't want to do that. But unless they come back and was like, hey, no, it's not that, I'm not doing it. Nate, you with one of the last comments here, said, for sure, that chick from a couple years ago wasn't far from retirement. Helped that guy escape for a few days and then killed herself. Yeah, exactly. It's just the law of attraction. That's what it is. And some of these people that are in prison are in there because they were good talkers and they were able to get their way and do what they wanted to do. And they were able to, con a lot of people. A lot of these con artists is what they do. It's what they're good at. All right. So I'm getting out of here. If I appreciate you, if you watched on Twitter, if you watched on Facebook, you watched on X, you watched on Kick. Thank you all for all of you. Please go do your due diligence. Follow, repost, spread this word of mouth, smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're listening to this on podcast form, I appreciate you for listening. Give us a 5-star rating, and I'll be back. I might be on a weird schedule. I'm always on a weird schedule, right? I'm never consistent. We're going to start trying to flow, having guests in again on Wednesdays, or at least one per week. It might not be exactly on Wednesday. We're going to start trying to flow in and have guests on again. That's one of the things that I want to do. We have a guest lined up for this Wednesday, so I'm excited for that. I want to get back to doing that. That was kind of our bread and butter. Dave will pop in as often as he can, and we're going to continue to have a good time. But I'm also, my New Year's resolution, normally my New Year's resolution every year is don't die, because that's pretty good. If I can make another resolution, I did it, right? But this year it dawned on me that I should make a real one. I've been in the process of writing novels for, God, the better part of 10 years. And I haven't completed one of them. I have a few, I have one that's a ton, like a lot of words in, 20 chapters deep at least, that I wrote. I've been working on a children's novel, and a children's like light novel type of thing for kids. And I got to finish one of them. I got to finish one of them, and that's my New Year's resolution. Finish a book and get it published. So there's going to be some nights where I'm just not recording because I'm writing. So that's my goal, is to get one of them finished and published by the end of this year and get that going. So the schedule will be as regular as possible. I'll try to get on, but if there's going to be nights where I'm just, hey, I'm writing, and I'll try and update it. I'll try and throw it on X, like, hey, writing tonight, no show, or if there's going to be a show, but I'll try and be as regular as I can in terms of what we're doing. But all right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for listening, whatever you're doing. I will be back sometime. And like I said, we're going to try and get back on a regular schedule with guests. Dave comes on when those discs are fresh. Exactly. Yes, he does. But all right, everyone. Thank you so much. I